Alright, Mr. Jones, how's it going? See you're still broadcasting on YouTube, keeping your little audience happy just like everyone else. Lovely to see you keeping up the good work. Can I really use that phrase? Can I really use that expression when talking about you and your work? You know what? I don't like you, Mr. Jones. I don't like you at all. Not in the slightest and not in the least. And I've got many good reasons for that. But it wasn't always like that, was it, mate? No. I used to love everything that you said and everything that you did. And I used to think that you were the great saviour that you were promoting yourself to be. But what happened? What is it that turned me into such a Alex Jones skeptic? Well, bottom line is, mate, I got better. You see, you don't tend to think that once in a while a person's health, physical health, could improve enough for them to be able to use logic, break down ideas, think about the things you're talking about and find little holes in them, little problems here and there that might possibly weaken your position. No, of course not. Well, let's just think for a minute as to why someone like me might not like someone like you. Well, firstly, your videos are full of fear, aren't they? Trying to terrify the audience. Everything seems a bit like a science fiction fantasy, doesn't it? All a bit scary, you know, the major corporate, evil up there, and the little hard working class people at the bottom trying to fight back, yeah. Very beautiful, very romantic. But what is it that you say? Come on. Second issue you've got there is you actually interview people such as David Icke. And this is funny, this is. He's a man who believes that there are shape-shifting reptiles who are running this planet because his standards of truth are so low that he is prepared to say that this is true. Just as someone who doesn't know about ozone would say that the sky is blue because there's a layer of ice or the shell of a turtle covering the sky. Because the level, the standard of truth is so low. And that's why you interview him, isn't it, Mr. Alex Jones? You have deliberately chosen him because he speaks to a certain type of audience participant. One of your key demographics, people who like to be in that science fiction fantasy world, rather than someone who likes to search for the truth and try and find out what's real. Come on, who else do you interview? You interview Lord Monkton, and you promote him as a lord, a man who is within the House of Lords here in the United Kingdom, when he is not. It's a lie which you have broadcast. You also say he was a science advisor to Margaret Thatcher, which he was not. It's another lie that you've broadcast. He's another man whose standards of truth and reason are so low, but yet is capable, morally capable, of sitting there in front of the camera and pure and simple lying. That's why you bring him on board, isn't it, Mr. Jones, you little con man, you little dodgy little mucker, innit, Because these people can fill your audience full of fear, and fear is the product that you love. It's a drug which goes around people's brains, wanting them to come back for more and more and more. Come off it. What else do you do, Mr. Jones, that makes me hate you so much? Is it because you have the same ideas and the same views and values as the skinheads who are in certain parts of Idaho who believe in the Zionist occupational government? Now, you're very clever, Mr. Jones, sometimes, aren't you? Because you try and make it seem like Jews are okay, but Zionists are bad. But the ideology that you're promoting is just the same as this Zionist occupational government myth. That these people who are the Zionists are trying to take over the world and run the government and run all the banks and are essentially trying to erode your freedoms, the freedoms that you believe in so very much. It's a lie, Mr. Jones. It's quite simply a lie. But you're tapping into that, you're deliberately tapping into people's fears. So you can get more views, and you can sell more CDs, and you can keep your little radio station going. Oh, fascinating work. Great piece of art that is, the art of the Conman in action. I sometimes feel rather proud to have watched your stuff because it is such a work of art and you are such an artist. Bit of a wind-up artist, definitely a liar. Quite frankly, you don't stop there, you try and keep the myth going, you keep the ideology going. You're even in bed with climate deniers. Oh, that's fascinating, isn't it? You said at one time, oh, the phrase has changed now, it's not global warming anymore, it's climate change. Well, funnily enough, if the globe starts warming, then the climate will change. But you didn't take that into account, did you now, Mr. Jones? No, nor did you broadcast it. You suggested that the term climate change was some kind of illuminist spin on the language. You suggested that this idea was there to try and enslave people. Now, I will admit that the government does at times exploit things which are in the public conscience just for their own benefit. But exploiting things is one thing, and orchestrating things, oh, that's another thing entirely. You're a very, very clever man. Your mother would be proud of you. Well, if she didn't know about all the lies that you were telling, that is. And then, of course, there's the politics, innit? You know, the great and glorious political legend, that wonderful thing, the stab in the back political legend, full of fear of communism. You blame ethnic minorities, oh you do, you can't deny that. There was one video you did in which you were going on about the fact that all of the immigrants into your country, all those who hadn't been around for too long, would be being used by the New World Order to go forth and depopulate the United States, becoming part of the militia that would be dragging people into FEMA camps. You are deliberately stimulating and building upon racial hatred. Again, a very clever move. Your redneck followers, they must love you because you're showing that you hate people too. Ah, great. Isn't that wonderful? Promoting an ideology of hate within the USA, the land of the free and the home of the brave. And what else do you do? Oh, more ideas that are full of the standards of truth and reason that are absolutely pathetic. Creationism. That's right, Mr. Jones. You are an intelligent design proponent. Instead of actually looking at the history, you've decided to apply this wonderful idea, this stroke of genius, mate. This lowering of the standard of truth to suggest that evolution is a lie. Quite popular in certain parts of your country, I'm sure. But obviously we can see who your target demographic is. People in the Deep South maybe, the Bible Belt. That's an important part of your audience maybe. But it's all a lie. It's all a fraud. And it's all there to try and keep people loyal. But some people might think, well, Mr. Jones is just another conman out there on the internet. Why would little old Nick Dutch hate him? Well, it's because of the effect you have upon people. Not just the effect you had upon me when I was ill and I was looking through your information. You know, all those lovely videos you got out there on YouTube. No, but I know there are people who are going to pick up guns, and I know there are people who are going to kill innocent people. Just innocent, hard-working boys and girls, just like you and me, because they're afraid. And they were made afraid by you. Now, I'm going to watch a few of your videos, and I'm going to try and break them down. We'll have a look at a few of the things that you're saying, Mr. Jones. Take into account that you now know what I think. And we'll just have a quick look. Just see what you're saying and what I'm saying. And we'll see where the standards of truth are better.
Thank you for joining us, my friends. We are live here on the radio, and we're simulcasting the balance of the broadcast at prisonplanet.tv at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time today. Also, there's a Senate bill to make airport body scanners mandatory federal law so that you couldn't refuse these. They now admit, depending on the scanner type, 20 to 50 times the cancer risk they had previously said, and they are recording your naked body.
Okay, well, let's just stop there for a second. Now, as far as the scanners are concerned, yeah, they are very controversial. Because they're controversial, someone like you would, like, tap into that somehow and say, yeah, this is something which is scary, but on the other hand, if it does improve airport security, when, as you, even you must admit that, as there are homegrown terrorists in the USA, just as there are homegrown terrorists here in the UK, then some extra controls on passengers is in fact very useful. As far as the cancer risk is concerned, there's also a cancer risk from an X-ray. Now, would you actually deny yourself an X-ray if someone kicked your teeth in, broke your arms and your legs, and put you in a very difficult situation health-wise? Alex Jones, just answer that question. There is a health risk from X-rays. Are you personally going to turn them down if you get beaten up and your arms and legs are broken, your teeth are kicked out, and all the rest of that? Tell me. It's important.
Also, it made big national news on the Drudge Report, and quite a few newspapers picked up and reported over the weekend on my little 5.5-minute video about LeBron James and the fact that people are obsessed with issues of little or no significance. I have an article I want to read that...
Okay. Now, you say people are obsessed with issues of little or no importance. Have you actually gone onto YouTube recently? I mean, seriously, there has been charity runs for Doctors Without Borders. There's people raising money for all kinds of charities. There was a couple of girls getting drunk a little while ago and doing that for charity. You know, people are concerned with some serious issues, and they're actually using up their time to try and raise money to try and make something right that is actually wrong. This is what people are doing. Does everybody do that? Well, a lot of people are. If you actually look on television, even television, that form of media that you hate, because it obviously broadcasts ideas which are contrary to yours, namely fact, okay? Gotta remember that, okay? Important word, that, fact, okay? It's something you miss out on once in a while. You know, there's charity runs for cancer, there's charity runs for animals which are being neglected, and people give money to charities, and statistically speaking, it's normally the working class, poorer people who are more willing to give larger chunks of their income to charities than the more well-off people. Alright, this is also a fact, unfortunately. I haven't got a source for you. I'm sure I can Google it at a later stage. But essentially, people, as in the ordinary, hard-working, decent, law-abiding, working-class citizen, is in fact doing this right now. So, for you to say that people are not being concerned by real issues, you know, you are just plain lying. Alright? You may have some kind of report there. It's got to be a skewed report because there's so much information to the contrary. So you're cherry-picking information which, obviously intellectually dishonestly, which supports your hypothesis, just like you interviewing that nefarious reptilian alien believer David Icke. This is appalling behavior, and you know, people are taken in by your rubbish. You've got a responsibility to promote the truth, but you're just not doing it.
Paul Watson wrote about that today, dealing with the brainwashing that's going on and how the mainstream media tries to set the agenda.
Alright, here we got another one of these typical Alex Jones throwaway comments. You know, the media. Who is the media? Alright, later on, you know, I might show this on video, but Alex Jones takes information from Fox News, the most disingenuous, lying, cheating, stealing, evil news broadcaster out there. Fox News is not a major news network. Alright, they are disingenuous. They are false. They are promoting false news, and he broadcasts articles from Fox News as if it's a justification for his ideology. This is a man who, you know, has teams of researchers out there who go and cherry-pick articles which seem to support his hypothesis. And I'm going to use the word seem to because basically they don't properly support what he's saying. This is, again, Mr. Alex Jones being disingenuous and lying. And if in a few frames of video, he's saying that the media, in inverted commas, you know, the big, scary, evil, illuminist media, is setting the agenda. Then why is Mr. Alex Jones taking his evidence from, in inverted commas, the media? Alright, this is an important question which really should be answered by somebody, namely yourself, Mr. Alex Jones. This is more reasons why I hate you.
To be issues of little or no significance, so that the public fills their mind with mindless fluff instead of actually being involved in real issues.
Okay, actually being involved in real issues rather than mindless fluff. So being involved in, let's say, the tsunami, or the earthquake, or... Oh, come on. There were people who, like, went over there and tried to sort out the problem and did the best they could and just volunteered their help. This is what people did. Now, what you're doing is you're trying to undermine the actual rational intelligence of individuals and their knowledge base by suggesting that everything that they've learned is just mindless fluff. And then you're trying to substitute it with your own false truth, if I can use that oxymoronic phrase. Okay, it is your truth that you're promoting, but it is a lie. Okay, it's not the truth, it's not fact. It is falsehood. So you're very cleverly trying to manipulate your audience. This is after you've been turning around to the audience and saying, like, they're the ones who are being brainwashed, and you're trying to brainwash them. This is evil.
Chicago has now passed their new law. It says if you take 5 hours of training and the government decides you can have a firearms permit, you can jump through all these hoops and pay a fee and basically take psychological testing as part of the 5 hours. And then if they decide you can have the privilege, then you can have a gun locked up in your house but can't even have it on your porch or take it outside your home.
Okay, so at this point, maybe there's a bit of a culture clash, alright? Because I'm an Englishman, alright? And in this country, the average civilian doesn't have guns. A lot of us go to martial art classes and become very skilled in, like, taekwondo, Shotokan karate, kickboxing and all the rest of that. And there's an awful lot of, you know, weapon-free fighting experts out there in the United Kingdom. We don't tend to require firearms, but it's cultural because of, you know, you got the frontier culture, you got the history, and of course you got the Constitution, which says you all should have the right to have a handgun. That it makes it much more acceptable for people to be armed. But if the government is suggesting that there should be some standards and some regulation on that, you're actually going against that, when essentially it's actually a good thing for the government to make sure that people are actually sane, and they're not going to think, oh, now I've got the gun, now I've got power, and I'm going to go and kill people at random. Where basically, you know, within the history of the USA, there are people who just do this. And even sometimes apparently for religious reasons. And they would, like, kill the girl that they were after, and then kill themselves so they could, like, be in paradise together. This is something which has happened in recent YouTube history. This is something which, it's a story which I've noticed, and I've seen people commenting upon this, and I know that it's a real thing which occurs. People do go mad, and people with guns, funnily enough, if they go insane, can in fact be a little on the dangerous side. Now, if you haven't realized that, there's something disturbing about you, and what you're doing is you're trying to say, no, mad people should have guns. Now, the way I'm trying to analyze this or break this down is to suggest that there's some kind of connection with your far-right ideology there, that essentially all these mad people out in Idaho who believe in the Zionist occupational government, they should all have guns. They're all mad. They would never pass a psychological profile. Alright, they just would not. Because they're not good law-abiding citizens. They're not even Republicans. They are far to the right of the Republican Party. They aren't going to pass any psychological testing. And you're saying that these people who want to go to war with an enemy which does not exist should be armed. And you think that's appropriate behavior, and that's an appropriate message to promote to the world. Can't you see that there is something not only disingenuous but also morally reprehensible about what you're saying there and why you're saying it?
In fact, the BBC is reporting global population study launched by Royal Society calling for a global population reduction to stop the carbon that humans exhale.
Okay. Oh my word, Mr. Alex Jones, Mr. Alex Jones, Mr. Alex Jones. Is the idea of lowering the birth rate within the entire planet really about the quantity of carbon dioxide that people exhale or fart? Is it? No. We all use energy. Okay, every single one of us, from the food we get to the bottled water, there's always energy expended somewhere along the line. And the energy often comes from fossil fuels. We all have our carbon footprint. If the population of the world gets lowered, then essentially the carbon footprint gets, it's easier to deal with. Now, as far as this idea of lowering the population, this is not to do with a massive global cull. This is more to do with education to lower the birth rate. Okay? It's not due to putting poisons in our food and in our water. It's due to basically education. And also there was a book written a little while ago. It was actually, there was an author who appeared on The Daily Show, I don't know whether you watched that, who's pointing out that there is social changes, which means that women are actually having fewer children or waiting until later in life so they can have children after they've had a career. And so the birth rate is in fact slowly declining. And this is as a result of industrialization and indeed globalization, which is actually quite a positive force in this particular respect. Okay? And so, yes, there is a form of population reduction. But it's not the way that you are promoting it, Mr. Alex Jones, because you're promoting it in terms of this massive cull, as if everybody is going to be carted off to a FEMA camp in a train with chains around their ankles and around their wrists so they can't move, and then they're going to be gassed like laboratory chickens. This is a lie. Now, we've only gone a short way into your video. We've got up to 3 minutes and 30 seconds into your video. And can I really, I mean seriously, can I really take any more of my time to break down each and every single one of these little arguments you're coming across? Like, I'm a busy man, I've got my entire day to get through. But I tell you what, Mr. Alex Jones, I'm watching. And I'm watching out for the next time that I just feel like talking about you, because you are a dishonest, far-right, disingenuous individual who has a very low standard of truth and what it means to tell the truth and to express facts. To call you a pundit would be an insult to pundits. Okay, you are an extremist and a very, very dangerous man who is coming out with ideas that are best left in the previous century, the early part of the previous century. Because this is extreme anti-rationalism. I don't know if you know much about the history of the Nazis, but they took a lot of their symbolism and a lot of their ideas from a group of nationalistic, basically New Age Boy Scouts basically living in the woods. And they had anti-rationalist ideas, and they picked on lots of other anti-rationalist ideas, including xenophobia, including the idea of extreme patriotism, including various strange supernatural ideas about the origin of race and of culture and being, just like you're doing. Okay, you are promoting an ideology which is so close to the precursor of fascism that it's actually really rather frightening. Now, anyone who's got a bit of social concern and consideration should take the opportunity to speak out against you. It's not just that I don't like you, alright? Because I'm just one man, that's it. Just one man. But there's lots of other people out there. Some of them you managed to convince with your Conman tactics. But there are others who are going to have a chat with you, just like I am. And I think you can be sure of that. I don't like you one little bit. And you don't have to like me. that you do have to realize that sometimes the truth will come to the surface and will smother the lies.